today's project, I'm going to show you how to make a couple of different kinds of whole mushrooms. We've got the white button mushrooms. Whoops, they're running away. And my favorite, the little baby portobello mushrooms. I love these. They are so cute. I don't know if you guys have noticed in the description box below the videos last week and this week, I'm pointing you to my new blog. And in the blog last week, I talked about a new project I have coming up. We are going to do another building project this summer with the new Spring Fling building that Greenleaf has out. And this time it's going to be a farmer's market. So you can look for a lot of fruit and vegetable videos coming up. And I will show you how to make these little baskets in a future video, along with some other containers. So stay tuned, and I'll show you how easy these mushrooms are to bring together. When making foods, if possible, it's a good idea to have an example of what you're making. So today, I've got a couple of mushrooms here. I've got a little, what they call baby bella, or brown mushroom, and I've got just a plain white button mushroom. We are going to make both types. So the first thing I did was I looked at my mushrooms, and I thought, well, okay, they come in different sizes. There were ones of each size in the box. I just randomly picked a couple, but they're about 1.5 inches, 2 inches in diameter. The stems are about the same color on both. The stems are a little bit translucent. Okay, so I know what I want here. I know I can look at this and get the basic shape of the mushroom. And that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for size and shape. So I'll set these off to the side, and we'll talk about our clay. I've got 2 colors of clay. I have a white, creamy white color. This is just a little bit of an off-white, just a kind of a halfway soft clay. And then I took part of that same clay and I put some tan, or actually Sahara colored clay into it. Just a tiny bit, just enough to make it just a little bit tan. And then I have some chalk that I'll color with. I've got 4 colors here. I've got 2 kind of dark browns. I have a really pale brown, and I have white. And what I've done in my little palette, I have the 2 dark browns. This section here is mostly white with just a tiny bit of this light brown in it. That's for our button mushrooms. And then also I took some of that white color and I just made a skinny snake, and I baked this. And I didn't even bake it for the full time. I think I baked it for like 3 minutes. It doesn't want to be very hard, just enough that you can push it into your little mushroom caps. And let's cut some more pieces. I had some cut, but I've used them. And these can be different sizes, because when you look at mushrooms, you're going to see some have little tiny short stems, some have long stems. They grow different. Each one is a little different from the next. And they're not perfectly round. They can be a little off in their shape. That's okay. Okay, so I've got quite a few stems here. So I'm going to push these off to the side. Let's take this white clay. Let's take a little bit. And we are going to make just a snake. About 1/8 of an inch. And I can tell I've got chalk dust all over my tile because my clay is picking it up. But that's okay on this project, because our mushrooms don't need to be white. They're going to have some of that on them. Then we're going to cut little pieces. We want them approximately 1/8 of an inch. But they can be bigger, a little bit smaller. It's okay. Because these mushrooms are all different sizes in the real box, so they can be in our little mini box. We just make balls. What I like to do is I like to go through and I make all of these little short pieces into balls. I do that first. And they don't have to be perfectly round balls. They can be a little bit off. It's okay. And this, as you can see, this goes pretty quickly. since they don't have to be perfect, it's a pretty quick process. Mushrooms are something you can make lots and lots of really quickly. Alright, now we're going to shape them. Most of the mushrooms I'm making are going to have closed caps like our example does. I'll probably show you how to make a couple that are open cap where you see the gills underneath, but not very many because I don't think they're as pretty. I've got a round ball stylus, fairly small one. Just going to poke this in and kind of form my mushroom cap around here. And I take that white chalk that has just the tiniest bit of brown in it and I coat this. All I want is just a few little brown spots. I don't want it to be all brown. Very carefully holding this, take my tweezers and put that partially cooked stem into our mushroom cap, and I just dropped my mushroom. So let's do that again. And I find if I do it in my palm of my hand rather than on the tile, I don't end up with mushrooms that are completely flat. When I was playing with this earlier, I got some that were really, really flattened out. Not attractive. And I'm trying to keep any color away from that very bottom ridge on the edge, because mushrooms tend to be a little bit whiter on the edge. Let's take a longer stem. And if the stem doesn't go in straight, that's okay too, because in real life they come out crooked sometimes. So poke, form, chalk. And you're not going to notice, if you don't have the white and the light brown chalk, don't worry about this step. It's not a big deal. Alright, let's do one with the brown where you can see the gills. Now my favorite way to do that, I take my ball stylus and I dip it in one of these dark brown chalks and I really rub it in there and I get the end pretty well coated. Hopefully you can see that. Take my mushroom, my little ball of mushroom, and I poke that in. Now it's not, your mushroom is not going to want to stay on the stylus now. But that colors that inside without having the really heavy. And because the gills on the mushroom are so tiny in real life, when I see mushrooms done with a separate layer of clay inside, it always to me looks really out of scale. This gives you that impression of those gills, but without being like way thick. That one didn't really color, so if you don't pick up enough color, you can always come back. My stems are running away. There. So I will finish up making these, and then I'll come back and we'll make some of the baby Bella mushrooms. Alright, I came upon a really cool technique, kind of by accident because the dog startled me. I have my light brown chalk. I've rolled out all of my little balls for my button mushrooms and just scrape and tap and get it on there, and then as you kind of pick it up, it gets the little specks just like on the real mushroom. It really is a neat effect. So I thought I'd mention that it was a happy accident. So I'll continue making these and then we'll get on to the brown mushrooms. We're going to make the baby Bella mushrooms now, or the brown mushrooms. I've already cut and rolled out my little balls of clay, and this is the little bit slightly beige clay. There's really only one difference. I made some of these a little bigger because a lot of times those are bigger by a little bit. Now on these, you do need the brown chalk. I'm going to just brush it over, keeping it on the cap. I want to keep the bottom pretty much white if I can. Just make the top this really pretty brown. Pop it off. That's really the only difference between the two types of mushrooms. And put the white stem in. Let's put this here. Again, we poke our stylus in. And it's okay if they're kind of funny shaped because mushrooms can be funny shaped. Oops, I forgot to do the chalk. See, even I forget the chalk sometimes. That's what happens when I try to rush. This one is really, really dark, really, really wide on the bottom. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put chalk in there. This one, I need, let's see if this will work. Got one of these funny shaped Q-tips. Let's see if this will work. A regular Q-tip would be better, but this is what's on my table right now. Yeah. Get that coated with some chalk because I can tell I got the opening so big that this will now be an open mushroom. Yeah. Poke, chalk. Off, pick up the stem, and put it in. So I'll finish this up, and when I get all done, I'll show you how they look. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you can make some use of some mushrooms in one of your scenes, whether you're making a produce stand, farmer's market stand like I'm going to, or you just want to have a few mushrooms to lay out on the kitchen counter or use in a scene somewhere. I hope they'll be useful. Be sure and check out the blog and the Facebook page, and be sure and tell me what videos you'd like to see, especially fruits and vegetables right now. That would be great if you've got one you want to know how to make. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.